now to the economic impact, which is also devastating for so many. While millions of Americans struggle with coronavirus-related layoffs, still employed essential workers are also battling radical pay disparities within their companies. The Walt Disney Company heiress Abigail Disney, who took on her grandfather's company last year to criticize its CEO for his, quote, insane $65 million salary, is now among nearly 100 multimillionaires who have called for a COVID-19 wealth tax. And Abigail joins us now. She's the co-founder of Fork Films and host of the All Ears podcast. Abigail, thank you so much for joining us.
So your
concept, thank you. Tell us about your idea to help deal with the millions of Americans that are dealing with economic pain due to this coronavirus, which of course leads to mental health problems, depression, so many other issues, and of course changes their lives and livelihoods potentially forever. You think that they deserve more. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I think they deserve is dignity. They deserve all the same things that everyone deserves. And I think that for too long, the people in the C-suite have been not really looking upon those low-income workers as equals or peers. So it's time for there to be a shift in consciousness and a recognition that everybody who works at your company, as I say, whether they fill out the spreadsheets or change the bed sheets, deserves a wage they can live on. It is not acceptable that someone who works full-time cannot regularly feed their family. And that's what's happening at the Walt Disney Company and many other companies. That's happening at McDonald's. Yeah. It's happening at the Gap. It's happening everywhere where there's a minimum wage job.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. But what do you think at this point millionaires in America should be doing to offset such extreme losses from people who have been affected by the virus?
Yeah. Well, you know, there is talk of a COVID surge in terms of philanthropy, and we've certainly been advocating for foundations, which currently are mandated to give out 5%, to increase that payout annually to maybe 8%, 10% even, because these are exceptional times. These are exceptional years. But over and above that, we have to advocate for our government to step in for the families that are suffering. This is, you know, Trump gave us an unwanted, unnecessary, and incredibly damaging tax cut. So it's time to take some of that money and put it back into the system. When we put money into the hands of actual people on the ground at the beginning of this virus, we saw it all go straight back into the system and stimulate the economy. Why we are not doing it right this second, I have no idea.
Hey, Abigail, it's Willie Geist. Thanks for being on this morning. For people who don't know, you are the granddaughter of Roy Disney, whose brother, Walt Disney. They co-founded Disney Company together. So I would just ask you more broadly, has it been a difficult decision for you to step out and speak out so publicly and so bravely and so aggressively about the company that your grandfather founded?
It's been quite painful to me, honestly, because I really do love that company. I really do believe in the sort of greater good that it represents. But it pains me a lot more to go and talk to folks working full time who are being treated as poorly as they're being treated. So it was a hard decision, but I didn't feel like I had a choice.
And so as you look at the people we interact with when we go to Disney World or Disneyland, these are the people you're talking about, the people who greet you at the gate, who run the rides, who sell you all the concessions. That's the people the rest of us see. What would be your message to executives at Disney as they think about who to lay off, who to furlough in these times?
Yes. I think that they need to imagine that they're working that job. They're the janitor scraping the gum off the sidewalk. Their daughter, you know, is the woman taking and selling sodas and clearing out the trash cans. I think they need to put themselves into those shoes before they make any quick actions. I know that there are workers who are terrified to come back because they have things like asthma and tendency to get bronchitis, and they're worried to death about catching this virus. And I completely understand that. They have very poor health care. You can get great health care if you work hourly at Disney, but only if you qualify, which is a harder thing than it should be. And they're putting people in a terrible position right now. And they've been on furlough for quite a long time. I imagine there are going to be layoffs. And I understand that the company is really facing a loss of business that's epic. But if there was some way for them to account for the people who've been there and who have committed themselves and who've been there for the customers and the guests in such an extraordinary way for so many years, they have to account for that in some way. It's loyalty. It's a human quality.
Abigail Disney, thank you so much. You make so much sense, and we appreciate your coming on this morning. And from that,
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.